Hey everybody, what's up? This is Z-Dog. Z-Dog today is going to cook pork steak and mushrooms. Now, these mushrooms are the mushrooms I got out of the store. They're whole mushrooms, whole white mushrooms. These things are amazing when you cook them down. They're really simple. They taste just like if you got them at the restaurant. But we'll clean these up here in a little bit. For right now, we're going to get to these pork steaks. Show you how to do this. Always take your jewelry off, put that away. Alright, make sure that. Now, I got the pork steak. Steak out. Now these pork steaks, they're really big. I want you to see these. It's a pretty good sized pork steak. Now you can get a pork steak in one whole chunk, and it can come that thick, but if you have them shaved off, you can buy them in the store cut into slices like this. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. This is really simple, okay? So first thing you want to do, for the kind that I like, some people use barbecue, but I don't. This is seasoning salts, and it's really good. It's Lawry's, and it's some of the best tasting. The other thing you want to do is use garlic powder, okay? Now you're going to really enjoy that. Now I put it in a baking pan. I put aluminum foil down in there, and there's a reason for that. Now, in fact, to tell you the truth, I really need to get the edges fixed on that real quick. And it's really not that hard, guys. You can use one strip of aluminum foil, and I'm going to show you something just to fix the edges. So roughly about the same. You get a strip like this. Start in the middle. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty. But you're only going to do one thing, and that's fix up the edge. And the reason that is because you are trying not to let the oils and the rest of it escape. So I'll make this real simple, show you what I'm going to do. Put that down here for a second. Alright, there you can see how that is right there. I'm going to use the cut part on the inside. So I'll lift that up right here, over there to the side a little bit. That's a big one. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to lay that right down inside there. I might have to pick it up again. There. Lay that down in there. Make sure that the corners and the edges are covered. You don't want to overdo that. It'll work out better. Believe it or not, I mean, you're going to probably think, well, it's going to come out from underneath it, right? When you're right, it's going to start like that, but it ain't going to lay there. The oils that come from the pork will literally seal that up, because it's going to get down in there, it's going to dry up. Now we got to do the same thing to this side. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this over here to the side, put this to the side, put this to the side. Lay that down in there. It doesn't have to look pretty or nothing. And put your pork steak back on top of there. Let that flatten out just a little bit. Boom, right there. And then wrap that around on the corner. And now we're ready to prep the pork steak. Alright. So, idea is to make sure. Hold on a minute, guys. I'm still here. Wash your hands before you start touching everything. If you're touching pork, it's still got all that grease and oils and everything, and get all that nastiness over everything. You want to be sanitary. Yeah. Alright, so. And then, hands up. This is really simple. So the first part that you really want to do, and some people put the garlic on last. You can put the garlic on first and trap it inside. Yeah, trap the garlic inside. Now, I have this open thing. It's really good garlic. It's just really good, inexpensive, and you can always tell garlic when it's ready. It smells good. So it's really simple. You just sprinkle it on there, on the tops. Just get it all over the tops. You don't want to go heavy with it because it's going to be strong. And the second thing you want to do is, after that's on there, use your seasoning salts. So that's good. This, you can go a little heavier than the garlic. It's all going to cook down inside there, and I'll get this thing started first. Sort of. Interesting. Now, this is salt, so just remember, salt is very salty. So, it will all cook in. Now you can take this and flip it over onto its other side, because all that other stuff is still stuck there. You don't have to do very much. Put that on there. Come on now. Now, if you're familiar with pork, pork is sticky because of the oils and greases. So you're just going to do the same thing. Put the garlic on there. And I like to go in sprinkling in an angle, because if you go in an angle, like side to side, it will literally cover the edges of the meat as well. Alright, so we don't want to put a lot of that on there. Looks like a lot, but it's really not. Believe it or not, even though you got this little pan right here, you can do something even better too. You can add a smidge, not a lot, a smidge of water. And why I say that is because it keeps it from sticking to the pan. So, take a glass, got about that much water in it. That's not much. Go along the edges, put water in there, around the edges, around the edges, around the edges. It'll spread out. Well, that wasn't that much. You don't want a lot of water in it, because the pork steaks themselves are literally going to have oils coming off of it. So you don't really want a lot there. Okay? Now what I'm going to do, I got some waters on there. Okay. I'm going to add around the edges just a little bit, not much, because I accidentally washed some of it off. Get some garlic in there around the edges. It'll all cook in, it'll all taste good. Okay, yeah. And it will definitely be amazing when you're done. This is the way I do it. Now, everybody's a little different. Everybody got their little techniques and everything, but this is the way I do it. Now, you want to set your oven at 375 to preheat. Takes maybe 5 minutes if you're lucky, and then after that you could stick your pork steaks in. Now, you cook it in the way it is for 30 minutes. Okay, you don't even have to open it up or nothing. Just leave it alone. Because pork steak will cook on its own. You don't have to cover it up or nothing. This is going to be baked. And even though it's got a little water in it, which seems more like a broil, it's actually going to do good. Now, they will shrink a little bit. They are pretty good size. But it's going to be so juicy. That's why I put the water in there. The water keeps it juicy and keeps it from drying out. Okay? It also allows the seasonings and the garlic to soak in as well when it's boiling. So it's going to be really, really good, guys. Really good. So let me get back to you shortly. We'll check on these, what they look like when we put them in. Okay, so the oven is ready to go. It's ready to be put in. So what we're going to do, you only need one shelf for 3 of them, or 2 of them, or even 1. Believe it or not, only for that many. Now, if you got 2 of them, you need to evenly every other on the shelves. So we're just going to take this, put this inside of there. See how they look when they're inside. Okay. We got a little water on the outskirts of this, it looks like. What they look like on the inside, everything's nice and clean. Now, as it cooks, the water will evaporate, get soaked into the meat, and you don't have to worry about that. So monitor your time, 30 minutes. Then, after 30 minutes, take it out and flip them over and let it cook at least up to 15. Some people say 10 is good enough. I like my meat cooked all the way through, so about 15 minutes. If it doesn't seem like it's cooked all the way through, cook it a little longer, but don't let it cook till it dries out. So when it gets closer time, we will work on these mushrooms. The mushrooms are going to be good. Come back and join us here in a few minutes. Hey everybody, we're back. Glad to see you here. We are about 20 minutes into cooking the pork steak. So if you're going to have mushrooms with it, and I recommend that you do, recommend that you do, get your mushrooms started dirty. So really, this is really simple. Get your mushrooms out, and you definitely want to wash them. That you do. You need to look at the ends of these. Each one of them, okay? Look at the ends. Get yourself a knife. If you find some in there that still has the dirt on it, you cut that off. I mean, it's really just that simple. You don't want to be lazy when it comes to mushrooms because you don't want to eat dirty food, right? No, you don't. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rinse these off real quick. And we're going to trim off the edges of the mushrooms where it's dried out or whatnot. Get all the flaky stuff off, okay? Best way to do it is to get yourself a strainer. Just put the strainer in the sink, put the water on it, rinse it off, you're good to go. Another reason why you want to actually clean your mushrooms up is because it is a fungus, okay? And fungus can still grow mold and fungus, okay? So you want to make sure that the white mold that grows on it is not there. And it's generally found on the soft spots. So if you see like some brown, dark gray, greenish looking areas, you can carve that off with a knife because what's underneath it, if you go down deep enough, it won't look like that. And then at the stem, normally where there's still dirt, a lot of times. So what they do is whenever they gather these up, the juices and stuff that's in the mushroom, they just stick it inside of a container and wrap it. That's what they do. And then they ship it out because if you get a mushroom wet, it will cause it to decay quick. That's what happens to wet mushrooms. You ever go outside and look in the backyard, you got a really nice patch of mushrooms out there, and all of a sudden it rained, and then like a day later, they're like all wilted and nasty and slimy. Same thing with store-bought mushrooms. So let me show you how I do this. I've already got one tub of these done. I already got one tub, but this one's a little bit rough. If you see a mushroom in there that looks like this, these are supposed to be white mushrooms. Let me show you. That's fairly decent. It's got a bad spot right there. But if you see one like this, where it's all like that, it's all sunk in and everything, that means that thing's going bad. It's no good. That's no good. Matter of fact, that's actually a little bit sticky. And slimy. And that's what happens with mushrooms. And they just, sometimes they don't, they just throw them in a tub and they get the right weight that they want. Alright, so what you want to do, this one can be trimmed up just a little bit. Just a little bit, just the tops. Take that top off of there. It's not going to hurt it none. Not really taken away from it, it's just the skin. And that skin is nasty. So you want to make it look nice. I mean, it's just the skin. You just scrape it. You don't have to cut down into it. Just scrape it off a little bit. Like that. Now that looks better. Now you see how this has got bad spots on the stem? What I do is I cut in like that. See how I cut that right off there? And then where they've already cut, I cut that part off because it's dry and it's already starting to rot. And you just put it in your strainer. Mushrooms are a little time consuming. Most people don't worry about it. They just go in and rinse their stuff off. You see how that looks a little bit better without that yeller on there. It's just cleaning it off. That's all you're doing. I mean, just like any other vegetable, you want to make sure that it's clean. But this is a mushroom, so it's potentially not good if it's molded up. It's like if you go out in the woods and you're out there looking for morels and it's got mold forming on it, throw that sucker out. Once it's starting to form mold, the toxins that are in it are there. Now, some people would refute that. Be like, just wash it off. Why take the chance? You know? Everybody knows what mold does to people, you know? And that stuff gets deep down inside that stuff. Now, you can see this one had a bad spot, so I could cut that out, believe it or not. You can cut bad spots off. And now that's all clean. And look at the richness on the inside of that. It's all so good, man. And you can cut these in half so you know what they look like. You don't have to. And that is a nice looking mushroom. Can you imagine sitting there all day slicing mushrooms up? Sounds like fun, don't it? And to be truthful, I might actually do that. I might just go ahead and slice these in half and make this ready to eat like that. I think it gives us more. Honest with you. Alright, get that cleaned up right there. Take that off of there. And just go through there. Knock some of that skin off of there. Oop, I took a chunk off of that one. Oh well, we got more mushrooms. And I'll come back to you here in just a minute when I get this done. Okay, so we got those cleaned up, as you can see. And we got some already in here. So we're just going to add that to it. Add it to it. Now it's going to be right up there towards the top. Okay. Now, that we just wash it. Now what you want to do is you want to fill your pan halfway up to the top. You don't want to fill it up to the top because it'll boil over. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the water in it first. Start off with hot water so you have less time that it takes to actually boil. And you don't have to do anything special. That is halfway. So 2 full cups right there. Alright. And that's really what you got to do with that. Now this will boil down, I say it take about 20 minutes. You check on it, stir it around a little bit. It'll look different than what it does right here. Oh, my phone got hot there. Anyways, give me a second here. Haha! I got a vent back there. It's getting kind of warm. But it won't look like this. It'll get darker because as it cooks, it gets darker. And then when we get down towards the end, I'll show you what we're going to do to make that taste good. And it's going to be tasting just like it came out of a restaurant. It's going to be so good. Alright, so what we got here. The pork steaks are done pretty well. I like them to be a little bit darker. Not too much because I don't want them to be chewy. Give you an idea what that looks like. Ultra lens. I'm not exactly sure what that means. But anyways, as you can see, they're tender. Very tender all the way through. Them things are going to peel right off the bone. Okay? And that's exactly what you want. You want them things to peel right off the bone. Alright, so we're going to flip these over. Oh, man, look at that. See how easy that fork goes right through there. Now, when this is completely done, you'll want to test it out by seeing how white that meat is. As you can see how white that is right there. And that was right up there by the bone, so that's a good deal. See how that is? That's actually done. Alright. Now I'm going to put a little bit more water in that to keep it moist. I'm not going to lie, that has a really, really good taste to it. I flipped them over. I'm going to add a little bit more water in there. Not much, not much. Just a little here, a little there. And we're going to cook that. Make sure that they're just going to hold it. Now, you can see how much liquid. It's not really much. It's like the tip of your finger. It's not even more than that. And this helps get... We also got these mushrooms. As you can see, mushrooms are cooking down. They'll start boiling. And so, what we're going to do, we're going to stick those back in the oven and give it like 20 minutes. And please, by all means, everybody, remember to use hot pads. Yeah, I know that I got the aluminum foil on there, but sometimes you just forget, you know what I mean? So, alright. And we're going to bake that just a little bit longer, about 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back in. By that time, the mushrooms should be almost completely done. I'll show you how to finish that up.